Jane S. McKimmon, in her landmark book, When We're Green, We Grow, reminisced about her days as state director of the Women's Division of the Farmers Institutes. As far back as 1909, she was painfully aware of the need for a place where the valuable lessons she and her colleagues were delivering to North Carolina's farm families could be taught.
Farmers Institute lecturers met their audiences in schoolhouses, Sunday school rooms, halls of the Woodmen of the World or Masonic lodges, and rooms of civic groups. Sometimes the wide out of doors found us ready to try our voices against the wind to give the information for which people ask.
Mrs. McKimmon's career would lead her to become the state's first home demonstration agent. In that role, she founded the tomato canning clubs for farm girls, and through the girls, she was able to attract the farm wives and mothers who recognized the need to learn new skills and new ideas. Subsequently, home demonstration clubs were founded in every county of the state. Mrs. McKimmon selected the county agents who worked with those clubs and oversaw the agents' training. Always a proponent of continuing education, Mrs. McKimmon planned and developed annual 2-week short courses for the county agents. Later on, week-long workshops for the home demonstration club members themselves were held on the State College campus each year, supplementing the instruction that took place year-round at club meetings. Whether in each county or at State College, the need for a place for continual learning was obvious. Mrs. McKimmon served as Assistant Director of the North Carolina Agricultural Extension Service from 1924 until she retired in 1946. Her vision, however, did not retire with her. It was adopted by very able successors who carried on her work with the ever-growing home demonstration clubs. In 1951, members of the clubs pledged to raise money for a home demonstration building on or near the State College campus. Originally, the ladies thought they would need a smaller building with 2 or 3 small apartments, several bedrooms, an assembly room, a reception room, and a kitchen. But in 1958, Ruth Current and Verna Stanton wrote to School of Agriculture Dean D.W. Calvert, proposing a larger building, built with the assistance of the state legislature, that could better meet the needs of their growing organization. In a January 19, 1960 meeting in Ricks Hall on the NC State campus, Ruth Current addressed the attendees with a spirited speech in support of this new facility.
We are not all going to believe this job cannot be done, but let's not do it unless the 100 counties want to participate. Let's do whatever it takes to get ourselves organized and go forward with positive thinking. I know that this we can do if we have the cooperation, the backing, the enthusiasm, and the spirit of everyone. I know the district agents and specialists here at State College will do all that we can do. We will get ourselves whipped into shape if it takes that. I think the time is now. With the progress made in past years and the progress we are going to make in the future, we can do this.
Later, in that same meeting, Extension Specialist Pauline Gordon listed what features would be desired in the building. Among them were a large auditorium, a large multi-purpose room, large and small conference rooms, food service including a dining room and a snack bar, and of course, air conditioning. Members of the home demonstration clubs throughout the state had made a commitment to donate a portion of their butter and egg money toward the cost of building this facility. The pledge amounted to $2.50 per person, $1 the first year and 50 cents each year for the next 3 years. In August of 1966, the homemakers made the first contribution towards a multi-million-dollar continuing education center at NC State University. Their check for $100,000 of butter and egg money was presented to Chancellor John T. Caldwell, and Mrs. McKimmon's vision was one step closer to a reality.
Bill Turner saw to it that the monies were included in the budget that went before the legislature. He was in a position to make that happen. And that it was kind of a sacred cow, and nobody was supposed to mess with it, that appropriation.
In 1968, Robert W. Scott, a loyal State College alumnus, had been elected governor of North Carolina. At Chancellor Caldwell's suggestion, Governor Scott borrowed Dr. William L. Turner, then serving as Administrative Dean for University Extension, from the university, to serve as the governor's Secretary of the Department of Administration. Joining Dr. Turner in the Scott administration were other talented NC State staffers, Mary Frances Hester and Dr. Lee Hammond. For the 1971 session of the General Assembly, Chancellor Caldwell listed the Extension and Continuing Education Center as his #1 priority on the university's capital improvements budget, and a site south of Western Boulevard was selected. With the support of Governor Scott and quite a few telephone calls to legislators from Bill Turner and Mary Frances Hester, $4.2 million were appropriated by the 1971 General Assembly. According to Chancellor Caldwell, the butter and egg money was the most persuasive single fact in our arsenal of arguments to the General Assembly for additional money.
If I were a legislator, and the fact that the women had used their butter and egg money for a cause like that, would have a positive impact on me. In other words, they are willing to do their part, and in fact have already started doing it. Yes, I would, and that is bound to be a good selling point, if you will, to the legislators. These women, of course, came from all across the state and were able to say to their legislators back home, well, look, we did this and that, and we raised this money, and we would like some help. I'm sure it would have a very positive impact on that. I know it would have for me if I wanted to get reelected.
Construction could begin at last. May 1976 marked the opening of the Jane S. McKimmon Center for Extension and Continuing Education. It housed the office of the Vice Chancellor for University Extension and Public Service, the Division of Continuing Education, including its non-credit branch that coordinated short courses, conferences, and workshops, and its credit branch that administered the university's summer sessions and registered adult students in on-campus evening classes and off-campus extension classes, the Center for Urban Affairs and Community Services, and support services such as a print shop and a mailroom. The first program to be presented in the new center was Ted Pemberton's Utilizing Tax Laws to Your Advantage, and the first large international conference was the meeting of the American Dairy Science Association, which attracted almost 2,000 participants. The McKimmon Center was dedicated on October 18, 1976, as part of the installation of new Chancellor Joab L. Thomas. In 1981, a new annex wing opened, expanding the number of smaller breakout rooms by 6, and also expanding much-needed office space for urban affairs. Over the next 10 years, the computer training unit was spun off from urban affairs, and the Encore Center came into being. Other occupants of the McKimmon Center over the years have included the North Carolina Solar Center, Humanities Extension, the Emerging Issues Forum, and the Shelton Leadership Forum. Over the last 3 decades, the Jane S. McKimmon Conference Center has become recognized as a premier location for professional development, training, and updating. Literally, tens of thousands of programs have been held in the center, attracting millions of participants. Nationally and internationally known speakers have been featured in events that have drawn the nation's attention to NC State University and its excellent continuing education center. The university's intellectual resources have been shared with the citizens of our state through hundreds of short courses, conferences, and institutes. Many of these have been facilitated by the McKimmon Center's superb staff of event managers. Other programs have chosen to use the center solely because of its unparalleled meeting space, technology, and professional support staff. The center's flexibility and functionality have been its hallmarks since the day it opened. Today's program attendees expect more than nice meeting space, however. Over the last few years, substantial upgrades to the center have been accomplished. Major renovations of rooms 1 and 2 were followed by a beautiful redesign of the lobby. The exquisitely redecorated William L. Turner lobby was dedicated in April 2004, exactly 80 years after the creation of the College Extension Division. In the past 2 years, the majority of the center's classrooms have been transformed into state-of-the-art training rooms with automatic screens and projectors, built-in sound systems, and attractive lighting. The center is both wired for internet and satellite teleconferencing and wireless for the convenience of laptop-bearing visitors.
It served a great purpose. I've attended, obviously, a number of meetings over there and made a number of talks to various groups. To walk down the hall looking for the room that I'm supposed to go to, and the doors would be open on another room, and here would be some people taking the test for certified electrician or plumber or something like that. Just a group coming in from all over the state. And what a service that has been.
Vision plus commitment plus leadership plus performance equals excellence. That is the formula. 30 years after its opening, the McKimmon Center is fulfilling its promise far beyond early expectations. With the strong support of university leadership, the cooperation of its many partners, and the dedicated efforts of its extraordinary staff, the future may be even brighter than the past. Happy birthday, McKimmon Center. Here's to another 30 years.